I'm Nirja Shah with the Illinois Chapter American Academy Pediatrics. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar on ICARE. This webinar is sponsored by the Illinois Department of Public Health. Today we are joined by Tim Stevens from the Illinois Department of Public Health. Participant phone lines are muted. This webinar is being recorded. If you have any questions for our speaker during the presentation, please enter them into the question box on the control panel on the right side of your screen, and Tim will answer them at the end of this presentation. After this webinar, you'll receive an email with the link to the recording of today's webinar, as well as PDF to the PowerPoint slides. Now, I would like to introduce Tim Stevens. Timothy has been working in the immunization section since August 2012 and was working directly with ICARE program. He served as a graduate public service intern for 2 years while obtaining a master's in public administration. He was then brought on as a temporary worker until a full-time position became available in August of 2015. Please join me in welcoming Tim Stevens.
Hello, welcome to the ICARE presentation today that we're hosting as part of the IDPH program. My name is Timothy C. Stevens. Disclosures: I have no relevant financial relationships with the manufacturer of any commercial products and/or providers of commercial services discussed with this CNE activity. I do not intend to discuss an unapproved or investigative use of commercial product device in my presentation. Cover the IDPH vision and mission. The vision is communities of Illinois will achieve and maintain optimal health and safety. The mission is to protect the health and wellness of the people in Illinois through the prevention, health promotion, regulation, and control of disease and injury. The objectives of the presentation today is to go over the patient refresh list, to go over the patient remind and recall functions in ICARE. We'll touch on contraindications, adverse events, or immunities. We'll also go over the coverage level reports, vaccine information statements. We'll touch on inventory issues and interface issues as some clinics continue to have issues with their electronic medical records. We'll have a question and answer period. I have a few questions that I'll address and then open it up for other questions that you guys may have come up during the course of this presentation. And we'll also go over who to contact when issues arise. So other ICARE staff, it's going to be pretty limited coming very soon. Yesterday was the last day for our intern, Pearl Olatunje. He is no longer with us, so we don't have an intern until probably next August. Matt Sweeney has accepted a different position, and his final day with ICARE will be on the 22nd of this month. And so that leaves my supervisor, Terry Nicholson, and me. So that means there'll be 2 of us for ICARE in the whole state. Okay, moving on to the patient refresh list. We highly recommend that you refresh your patient list before doing the remind and recall function. This will get you a current list of patients that your clinic has. And so you'd go to the Patients tab in ICARE, which the refresh patient list is only available for the keymaster in your clinic. You can figure out who your keymaster is for your clinic by going under the Employees tab under the clinic page. If you do not know who your keymaster is, you can always send us an email at IDPH and we can figure out and or establish a keymaster for your office. And so the keymaster would go under the Patients tab and select the criteria for the patients who have received a shot, whether within the past year, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. And then they'd also put down the 2 dates, and the 2 dates would determine which patients would populate for their patient population. There is also a training video that is about 2 minutes long on the patient refresh list. Also, as I mentioned, the training videos, all the new training videos that have been published in 2015 and are going to be published here in 2016 are going to be ADA compliant. So even if you don't have audio enabled on your computer, you can log into the training videos and read along with it, or access the user manual and read the description of what to do that way. The patient refresh list continued. You can review the changes before you apply them. Once you apply your changes, you can change your results by rerunning the report with different criteria. So refreshing the patient list is not a permanent change, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Here in the presentation is a quick link to the patient refresh list. And again, I mentioned the video earlier on. The reminder recall function. Providers can use this reminder recall report or function to create address labels. They can also create form letters. These form letters can be in multiple languages. English is the default language, so if you need one, say in Spanish or Polish, you would have to type in the letter in Polish or Spanish because ICARE does not have a translator. Generic English letters are available, however, so if you wanted to take one of those generic English letters and then go to a translator site and translate it into a different language, that would probably be your easiest method. And then you can customize the letters, so if you wanted to set it up just to have a particular shot clinic, so if you want to have everybody come in for a flu shot, you can customize the letters and create a form letter and address labels to contact anyone who is due for a flu shot and have them reminded and come back into the office for a flu shot. They may be generated as address labels. They may be done as a patient list export, which would create an Excel file that you can access. They can be set up as letters or postcards, and so that would basically just determine what size paper and media the reminder recall notices would be printed on. For further instructions on the reminder recall, again, we have training videos. We've been working hard to get those up to date and very helpful, and there's the link to the reminder recall. Contraindications, adverse events, or immunities. There used to be what was called the Other tab. That was just recently removed. Now if you want to view the contraindications, adverse reactions, or immunities, you go to the Patients page, and then under the Shots tab in the Patients page, you would select the view, and there's select views for each one individually, whether it's contraindications, adverse reactions, or adverse events, or immunities. Coverage level reports. These are accessible under the Reports tab on the Clinic page. These are quick and easily accessible coverage reports for both pediatric and adolescent coverage levels that monitor the, These are pediatric and adolescent coverage levels that mirror the NIS collection methodologies. Further help is available in the ICARE user manual on these. We do not have a video up on the coverage level reports at this time. We are working on that. The coverage level report uses assessment criteria to determine adolescent coverage levels. To run this report, you would go to the Reports page. You choose the adolescent coverage level report. You choose the report options and You choose Report Options and select Print this report. The report will then open in a new window. The report will show a vaccine-specific coverage level by the 18th birthday of the patient. So some information on the report options. The report options for the coverage level report would be choose the clinic that you want to run the report for, and then you would select the date. And the date that you enter would be the date used when calculating the age of the patient, and it would also be for the birth date range, and is also the end date for the shot. When all criteria is complete, When all criteria is complete, select Print this report to create a PDF report. Here is a screenshot of how the coverage level report criteria will look like. And again, that report date is basically going to be the end date for what age they would be at that date. Moving on, we're going on to the vaccine information statements in the VIS report. This report is a list of VIS state status dates. It will show the vaccine name, CDC VIS date, local VIS date, and the date implemented. It also visually shows a green check or a red X to indicate whether the CDC VIS date is the same as the local date. To run this report, you would go to the Reports page, find Vaccine Management section, and click Vaccine Information Statements to launch the VIS report pop-up. Choose Report Options and click Print this report. The report will open in a new browser. Now to access the actual tab for the vaccine information statements, that is under the Vaccines page in your ICARE. In ICARE, it would be under the Vaccines page, and then you select on the VIS tab, And this tab is used to view and set a clinic's VIS statements. The National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program requires all providers to provide relevant current VIS to the patient, parent, or legal guardian prior to each dose of vaccine administered. This screen will keep track of what VIS a clinic is currently using and when it began using it. If the CDC VIS date matches the local VIS date, then it will be displayed with a green check mark to indicate that it is the most current version. If they do not match, then either the CDC has updated their VIS since when you put it into use, or you are using an older VIS. Either way, if there's a red X and you are distributing that vaccine, you will want to update the VIS date for that vaccine. Each clinic should check the VISs or vaccine information statements that they're using. For more information on the VIS statements, there is information in the user manual, and again there is also the training video which has been updated quite recently, which is called Working with Vaccine Information Statements. So now we'll go over continued inventory issues in ICARE. Some providers continue to experience some vaccine VFC inventory issues. Anymore, the majority of these issues are related to electronic transmissions through electronic medical records. So we'll go over how do you, the provider, recognize potential discrepancies, and who would you contact when those arise. We'll also go over what resources are available that you may want to utilize to help fix any errors. So first off, we'll go over what causes some of these inventory issues. There's 4 components of every shot that is transmitted via your electronic medical record to ICARE. The first component is the vaccine brand name. ICARE does not recognize generic brand names for VFC vaccines. So if it's coming across as DTP-HIB-IPV, it will not deduct. We will need to have the Pediatrix vaccine come across. For lot number, the lot number must match exactly to the lot number. A lot of the times an issue will be just as simple as a capital O instead of a 0 or 1 instead of an L. So you need to really check your vaccine boxes, because again we use the lot number off the box, not the vial, so you need to make sure you're entering the lot number off the box correctly without any typos when into your EMR when you're entering shots. The next component that needs to be in every shot is the CVX and MVX codes. These are the codes that will reflect into ICARE and show the vaccine brand name. Each brand name vaccine has its own unique CVX and MVX codes. The list of these codes are available on the home page under brand name vaccines in the ICARE links. The VFC status of the patient. This actually has recently updated. V00 and V01 are not VFC eligible still. VO2 through VO7 is VFC eligible. However, VO6, which is your chip, used to be your chip, is no longer a code. I believe those have gone to V22, V23, V24, and V25, depending on what level of coverage. Again, there is a information regarding the change of the V codes underneath the ICARE homepage under the News and Announcements archive. And so now we'll go over how the provider can recognize potential discrepancies. One way, in order to be able to detect potential discrepancies, you need to be in ICARE. And so we recommend providers check their physical inventory against their ICARE inventory at least once a week. I'm going to take this opportunity as well to go over access ICARE issues. To be able to access ICARE, each individual user needs to have their own web portal account. Now, in order for a user to be accepted and have a web portal account, they need to be approved by their site's Portal Registration Authority. And the Portal Registration Authority is just somebody for the organization that can confirm with ICARE that the employee needs access to ICARE. If you are unaware that if your clinic has a Portal Registration Authority established, please contact us at dph.icare@illinois.gov and we can check and see if you have a PRA established. I'll be giving that an email again later, but it is dph.icare@illinois.gov. And so we also recommend that you should get into ICARE and check your inventory once a week. We recommend that at least 2 users have access to ICARE at any point in time, because if one user has to go out on medical leave or takes a different position and is no longer in the office, we don't want you guys to go 4 to 6 weeks without having anyone with access to ICARE. So it does pay to have at least 2 people accessing ICARE at all times. Okay, now that we're into ICARE and you're checking it once a week at least, you have to know what to look for. And what to look for are expired lots with a balance. Expired lots are easy to tell. In ICARE, their expiration date is highlighted in red. And so if those lots that have an expiration date that is in red and have a balance, that is a red flag. You will want to take care of any of that balance and have it 0 before you are able to place a vaccine order. Again, lots with a negative balance would be a red flag. Any lot that is in the negative balance indicates that you have given more vaccine than you had available to give. You will need to check the accuracy of the vaccines you've administered and the patients that were said to receive that vaccine, and make sure that only the vaccines that receive the vaccine, only the patients that receive the vaccine are listed under that lot number. And then also we want to check every now and again on the lots in the no longer in stock inventory. If you open up your ICARE inventory, it automatically opens you into your in-stock inventory. If you select your no longer in stock inventory, those lots should all have a balance of 0. And then finally, one thing to look for is your discrepancies between your physical and ICARE VFC inventories. So to do this, you need to go into your VFC appliance and check out you need to go into your appliance and go through your inventory and count how many vaccines you have in your refrigerator or freezer. And then once you have that count, you would check and see how many ICARE is reflecting. If those counts don't match, run a couple of reports and check in your EMR to see if what ICARE has matches your electronic medical record. So who do you contact when issues arise? Sometimes you may need to contact your electronic medical record. Sometimes it'll be ICARE, or it'll be the VFC department. Either way, when you're wanting to contact ICARE or the VFC department, you'll use the Contact Us button in ICARE. For ICARE, you choose the ICARE category, and for VFC Illinois, you choose VFC Illinois. Email is going to be the quickest way to get to your results to your response or questions. Since we're going to have quite a limited staff starting in the new year, phones are going to be kind of hard to keep up with. I'm just going to be honest there. It's going to be very difficult for myself to keep up with the phones. I'm going to try to stay up on our emails and get them out on a daily basis, but it's going to be getting difficult for us here at ICARE. So yeah, if you could work with us and give us as much detail in your email as possible and send it to us via email, we'll try to get you as much support as we can. So the resources that are available in ICARE, which you should try to utilize before you contact us, would be the Clinic Immunization Activity Report, the Vaccine Inventory Analysis Helper Report, and the training videos, as I've referenced them many a time in this presentation. There are videos as well on the Clinic Immunization Activity Report and the VFC Inventory Analysis Helper Report. The Clinic Immunization Activity Report will generate a list of patient names and the date that they received the shot and whether the shot is deducting from your inventory as VFC inventory or not. This is a very helpful report for just giving you raw information of which patients received which shot. The VFC Inventory Analysis Helper Report is just a helper. It helps to try to identify shots that have a mismatch of information that ICARE thinks could potentially be a VFC shot but aren't deducting as a VFC shot. So again, if you have private shots that pull up on this VFC Inventory Analysis Helper, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that some of the information that came across on the private shot indicated that this could be a VFC shot as well. Another resource that's available in ICARE is the Imports tab. The Imports tab is under the clinic page, and it's only going to be available if you have been sending data to ICARE via electronic medical records. The Imports tab has a few different options. One of them will show you which patient was sent over on which day. The other resource that is very helpful is the user's manual. The user's manual is very up to date, and it provides a walkthrough basically on any screen in ICARE. So, some question and answer. We've had these questions in the past, and so we've kind of incorporated them into the presentation now. Does ICARE calculate the immunization due dates for patients? Yes. ICARE uses the ACIP minimum recommended schedule, and so we will forecast, but it may be different than what you expected. We've gotten questions, why am I always having to change my password? ICARE passwords expire every 89th day. You can either call 217-524-3648, or you can change your password online prior to being notified on the 90th day. If you receive the notification that your password has expired and it says that you have some grace logins and you can log in, it's a lie. It's a known issue, and it's part of the CMS help desk, or Do It help desk it's now called, and we tried to get them to fix it, and they just don't have the ability or can't do it. And so we know that the passwords expire on the 89th day, but you get notified on the 90th day. So it'd be good to put a reminder on your personal calendar and make sure that you put it down to update your password, or just change your password every 60th day, and that'd make it easy. But either way, the passwords will expire every 89 days. And if you are getting an ISA error message that your password has expired, that's the number you'll want to call. Okay, why should I use ICARE when I'm already using an EMR? If you are a VFC provider, you are required to use ICARE. Part of the VFC program will require you to order your vaccines through ICARE, as well as many other things. Otherwise, if you're just a private user and you still want to and you're still using an EMR, it is important to ensure your EMR is transferring data correctly. If you're just accessing via your EMR and you only go into ICARE after 4 months of data transfer, and now you're wanting to order flu vaccines because you haven't been in there in 4 months, and your inventory is all out of whack because one of the 4 components of a proper shot transfer wasn't entered and now data is not deducting, that's a big issue. It's a lot easier to clean up an issue that has only been growing for a week or two than one that's been growing for months and months on end. We get a lot of questions also about if ICARE is bidirectional. Yes, ICARE can accept bidirectional data. In order to have us set up your clinic as bidirectional data, you'll need to send an email to ICARE and request us set you up with a web services account. Bidirectional data for us is a web services, or the account will start with 888 username. Some of you may know your username starts with a 777, and that's a one-direction account. Here's some contact information. If you have questions regarding ICARE, logging in, new employees, new clinics, etc., or just general questions about ICARE, there's the best way to contact us. It's dph.icare@illinois.gov. For specific questions regarding enrollment into the VFC program, issues with an order, issues with that sort of VFC-related questions, the VFC program is going to be who you want to get in touch with. And then, again, with both of these, you can contact us if you have access through ICARE via the Contact Us. Otherwise, here is our direct email. It is dph.vaccines@illinois.gov. And then for questions regarding setting up your EMR and further technical questions regarding why your electronic medical record might be having an issue, the dph.hl7icare@illinois.gov is going to be your best contact there. And for ICARE password support, that is 217-524-3648, or you can contact them at the cms.helpdesk@illinois.gov. And then if you have password issue with your HL7 password or your electronic medical record password, that is dph.helpdesk@illinois.gov. You should not need to contact that office, the dph.helpdesk office, because the HL7 password is a non-expiring password. The only reason you need to contact them is if you had lost the password and need to reset it or set up a new one. Okay, that concludes what I have for the presentation part of it. Do we have any questions that we have to answer, or not have to answer, that I would like to answer? Do we have any questions that you would like me to answer?
Thank you, Tim. We're just going to start that Q&A as soon as questions start coming in. There's one question. Is there a 2016 flu VIS out, or are we still to use the one for 2015?
I am not certain. The flu VIS would have been published by the CDC. Let me see if I can check on that real quick for you. VIS. Okay, it looks like we're still on the VIS statement from 8/7/2015 for the flu as far as the CDC's gone. So I'd say if you're going to be giving out flu this season, it is acceptable to continue using the 8/7/2015 flu since the CDC has not updated that yet.
Sounds good. And then when you need to re-enroll for next year and you get a message invalid appliance, what does that mean?
Okay, the invalid appliance refers to whether it's the refrigerator, freezer, or the backup thermometers. And so that could be as simple as the date of calibration on one of the backup thermometers is not correct, and so it would be coming up as invalid. So when you're doing the re-enrollment, you want to go first into your vaccines page, then to the temperature log, and then to appliances/backup thermometer, and make sure everything is up to date and current under there.
Sounds good. And then do Title 21 and state-funded vaccines need to be put into ICARE?
Let me see on that. I'm not 100% certain on that answer, so let me check on that. Okay, yeah, I am not certain on if they do. I believe if it's going to be from a government program that they will need to be entered into ICARE. I'm not certain on that. You may want to contact the VFC program for a more definite answer on that.
Okay. Now, where can I find the total of Medicaid patients when enrolling for 2017?
Okay, so when you're enrolling into the VFC enrollment, your patient population is based off of what your current patient list is when you first start your VFC enrollment. If you wish to update the population at that point in time, you'll need to contact the VFC program because the VFC program is the only one that can update the patient population on the enrollment.
Okay.
Did I cover that question, or did I miss the main point of it?
I think you've got it.
Okay, good.
And then, where can Title 21 kids go for their shots if their regular pediatrician does not give them?
Again, this isn't really a good question for the ICARE program. I don't have that information available. You may want to, I think the VFC program would be better to handle that, unfortunately, because, yeah, I don't have that information available.
Not a problem. And are there any website recommendations for the new thermometers and refrigerator?
No, unfortunately, not too familiar with the data loggers and temperature logs because, again, that's more pertinent to the VFC program.
Sounds good.
Okay.
We'll keep this open maybe for another minute or two to see if there's any other questions.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see. I may go ahead and open up our ICARE test environment so I'm not showing any live data to you guys, and then I can kind of give you a walkthrough and show you where the user manual is and stuff like that. So here's our test environment. So again, this is our test environment, so none of this data is actual patient data. I've made this all up off the top of my head as you see the recent patient list over there. So this is all what you guys would see if you're accessing ICARE, but this is our test environment. And so if you go into ICARE, on every page in the bottom left hand, there is the ICARE shortcuts. And if you select on training videos, this will take you to the new training videos. The ones that have come out within the past month will have the new marking on them. Not this Thursday, but next Thursday. The VFC eligibility, working with contacts, adding new shots, and editing and deleting shots will be updated into the 2016. So all 4 of these videos are ADA compliant, and all the vaccines videos that are published as of 2015 would be ADA compliant and have script along with them, so you can read along with them. Again, these training videos are very helpful. They can shed a lot of light, especially if you're a newer user into ICARE. And then there's also a link along the left-hand side here for the user manual. The user manual is kind of like an outline, and so it can help you get through everything too. And so we can go to the vaccines, we can go to the VIS dates, and then we can go in about adding and editing VIS dates, or you can just go in general about VIS dates. So the user manual is quite helpful. The home page, I made reference to that earlier. In ICARE, a lot of information is posted up onto the home page, and then if it gets a little bit past date and it's still older information, such as the information that's currently out there on the update from V06, there's the News and Announcements archive. Again, since this is test environment, the News and Announcement archive is not active. The immunizations links is also a very helpful link. It'll take you to a bunch of different sources, and they're very, very helpful. One of them that I made reference to earlier, which I don't think is actually in the test environment, is the brand name vaccines in ICARE, but this is where you find the immunization links. I made reference to the Contact Us button in ICARE. Here's how you would send a Contact Us. You would select Contact Us, category, select the appropriate category, type in the subject, and then type in as much feedback or information as you have available. Alrighty, and then we'll go over some reports real quick, just kind of show you those and where those are at. So here's your reminder recall reports and how to get to those. Under the Patients tab is where you would do your patient refresh list. Notice how I don't have it currently, because I'm currently in the role of Add, Edit, Delete. I'll change my role to Keymaster since I have that ability, and now I have the Refresh Patient List screen. And so now you can see, if you're a Keymaster, you'd have this screen available to you. Anyone that's just an Add, Edit, Delete, or Read Only would not be able to view this, because we don't want everyone going in and changing the patient list for your clinic. We only want 1 or 2 people having the ability to do that. Okay, so I think that covers as well as what I would touch on here on showing you guys some ICARE pages.
Sounds good. There's one more question. I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer it, but hopefully, maybe you will.
Hopefully.
With the change of Title 19 and Title 21, if this information is not transferred over or specifically changed, will it mess up inventory?
Yes. If it's not reflected in your EMR, it won't come over correctly. Sometimes we've had people that were sending stuff over for CHIP patients as V06 still, and since it was coming over as V06, it wasn't being recognized and it wasn't deducting properly through the inventory. So you'll want to make sure in your EMR that you update the codes to reflect the new changes.
Can the user manual be printed? If so, how?
Let me check that. I never ran into that before. Looks like it has print options for each page, so I think you can print each page specifically, but it doesn't, I don't think, allow you to just print the manual in one block. I can check into that further though and get back to you guys and let you know, the presenter, Nirja.
Mm-hmm.
I can let you know once it happens, and I can get with our developers and see if we can print off the whole manual.
Sounds good. And then I think this is referring to the last question with the Title 19 and 21, but they're asking, how can I change this within the EMR?
You would need to contact your EMR and check with them, because they will need to update their coding within it. I'm not sure how your specific EMR would work, but it would be a phone call to them to make sure that they have the new codes input into their system.
Great. I think that's all we have for now.
Alrighty, well, should we hang tight and see if we get a couple more?
Yeah, we can just hang on for a few minutes if you want.
Yeah, no problem. Drop off of this manual. What else can I show you guys?
There's this one more question. Do you have online training modules that can be used? But I'm assuming they mean the training videos?
Yeah, these online training videos would be pretty much the same thing, I think, from the training modules that you'd be looking for. And they show here most of them, they're pretty short in length, 6 minutes, 12 minutes. The longest ones can get to be about 16 minutes. And this one's for the Chicago VFC checklist. That one's 37 minutes. But for the most part, we try to keep them under 15 minutes because that way it's pretty manageable. And the videos are all captioned. They're very helpful, up to date. If you are watching the video and have a question or there's an issue in the video, please let us know so we can tailor it better to help more people in the future, because as we get limited resources in the office, it helps to have the videos to kind of lighten the load for us. But I'll take this opportunity to go into the settings, and if you want to clear your recent patient list, you go to settings and select clear recent patient list. You can also edit your defaults under the setting, so you can edit what you're showing and that information there. Like for this, for instance, you can choose what your school physical would include and add or subtract different things that would be showing on it.
Sounds good. But I don't think we have any more questions.
Alrighty, well, if you guys have any questions and something comes to mind, you can always send us an email at dph.icare@illinois.gov, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. So just had one comment. Thank you. This helps a lot. I believe that. Sorry. Let me just. Yeah. Thank you. This helped a lot.
Awesome. I'm glad to help. Let me know if you need anything in the future.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Everyone, thank you for joining the webinar. The recording will be sent out